Hey guys, got a few minutes to kill before Mike and Jose show up, so I just thought I'd show you something really quickly, something I just picked up and I'm super excited about finding it. Now, this is an original Logan's Run one sheet from the film from 1976 when it first came out. This is not a reprint, this is the real thing. And if you look on Movie Poster Warehouse right now, or movieposters.com, you'll see one of these posters in worse condition than this one, selling for $500. And I got this one for 90, so I'm super excited. A friend of mine had a friend that was selling it, so I was able to pick it up at this extraordinary deal. And I'm super excited about owning it. As you can see, it's got the wrinkles staining along the bottom. There's a major crease along the bottom that's going to have to be fixed. Slight yellowing, but overall, it's in pretty good shape. It's all there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it over to Dan Miles at Backing to the Future. Dan does really, really fantastic poster restoration work, and he'll linen back it, clean it, fix the faults, and basically turn back the clock on this poster. And probably get it back in a few months, at which point I'll show you the finished product, and I think you're going to be really amazed at the difference. But as most of you guys are aware, and at least any of you guys that watch this show, Logan's Run is one of my favorite films of all time. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and the fact that I've been able to acquire an original movie poster from the film is it's one of my holy grails, something I've been looking for a very, very long time. So super stoked about owning it. So yeah, that's it. That's really all I have to show you. Didn't want to waste too much time. The guys are going to be here in a few minutes, so I'm just going to go over there and get it set up, because I think we've got some really great books. I think you're really going to like what we're going to show you tonight. Hey guys, we're back. We're back with the latest episode, and I think tonight, Mike didn't bring any books tonight, so I think for the most part we're going to be showing Jose's books. He's brought in a couple real nice, gems we're going to be looking at tonight. So we're not going to waste any more time. We're just going to get right into this tonight. Jose, what do we got here? You got a real nice copy of Nick Fury Shield and #2. Wow.
Yeah, it should ring a bell. Mike's got this book. Yeah,
Oh,
Nick
yeah.
Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., issue #2 from July 1968. Features first appearance of Centaurus, a.k.a. Nobel Prize winner Dr. Noah Black. Yeah, Centaurus has the distinction of being the first African-American villain in Marvel Comics. These, of course, were early years for black characters in Marvel and in the comic marketplace in general. Issue #2 predates Captain America issue 117, which has the first appearance of the Falcon by over a calendar year. Now, I will grant you that Centaurus is not a major character, but he's still around. Now, he was recruited by Luke Cage into the Thunderbolts alongside the likes of Boomerang and the Shocker. Now, the book's important lies in it introducing the first black villain, and it's that fact that you should see it added to the key issues of black characters to add to your collection. Now, of course, issue #2 adds more. This issue, of course, was written and gorgeously drawn by Jim Steranko, one of the giants of the industry. And although the cover is not a classic Steranko cover, it is very strong and dynamic, with our principal character all huge and dominating the cover. I personally call it the Bender cover, after my favorite character from the Matt Groening animated sci-fi TV series. Now, the markets are indifferent at best to this book. Recently, a 9.4 CGC mint copy sold for $95 US, while a CGC 9.2 near mint minus copy sold for $55 US last year. Nick Fury issue number 2 was nothing for so long that it will take some time and some awareness for this book to catch up in the marketplace, but I think it will eventually. Now, the 47th Overstreet price breaks for this book are in the 6, 8, 9, and 9.2 grade splits are $24, $51, $96, and $140 US. On a final note, issues 1 and 2 of Nick Fury lead the league in miswrap 2-cent covers, especially issue number 2. This cover example illustrates this point perfectly. I do recommend holding out for a high-grade copy with a nicely centered cover. Now, it's harder to do than you would think. Having said that, I know it doesn't make a difference much too much into the current grading or price for a book. It's a production flaw, but try to get a 12-cent cover and not a 2-cent. Low mid-grade copy, 5.5, maybe a 6. I picked it up just so I have it. Obviously, I will still look for a high-grade copy, but I do have the whole Steranko run issues 1 through 7 now, and it's a nice addition to the collection.
Very nice. Now, Mike, didn't you pick one up last year at the Toronto Comic Book Show?
I got one. I picked one up at BMV.
BMV?
And I can't remember now if it has the full 12 cents or not. I'd have to go back and check. But I do remember we did show this many episodes, one of the way earlier.
That was actually going to be my next question for you. Would you say your copy is a higher grade than this or about the same?
I would say it's around the same, but I mean, I paid $2.99, $3.99 for
So that's the thing with
at
BMV.
Yeah, and unfortunately now BMV is dried up. There's now eBay flippers in there, and they have just taken everything out of there. Nothing under 40 cents.
Yeah, that sucks. So what you're saying is a lot of the really good deals with BMV, they're getting harder to find.
My honey hole is dried up, basically. Now we got nothing but the Toronto Con.
Cool. Anyways, Jose, that's a great book to start with. Now, thanks for bringing it in. Okay, next up we got a really nice copy, and this is a very high-grade copy of the King Size Annual Invaders number 1.
Yeah.
Wow, and it's all new. At least it was at the time, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it was in December of 1977, that Magic Star Wars year. Now, over the past few episodes, maybe I've talked a little bit way too much about how comic book covers have enjoyed a growing influence on comic book values in the marketplace. Cover artist here, Alex Schomburg, was a prolific cover artist in the golden age of comics. His timely war covers are celebrated and highly sought after by collectors today. A Schomburg cover has become synonymous with quality and desirability. Now, I don't know personally anybody today that can afford a nice copy of the classic Schomburg covers from the golden age, as they're moving out of reach price-wise for most of us very quickly. However, Invaders Annual number 1 from December of 77 here features the first Marvel Schomburg cover since 1947. And what a better subject matter to hand over to the then 72-year-old master than Captain America, Human Torch, Submariner, and Paul's favorite, Nazis. Now, I read...
Hey, they're not my favorite. I'm simply saying that you don't see a lot of this on the covers in today's modern comic books. It's become very un-PC.
Well, we've never been PC. Now, I read somewhere that Stan Lee compared Schomburg's timely covers to Norman Rockwell's Saturday Evening Post covers, and that's some high praise indeed.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is, yes, we can own a beautiful Schomburg cover, and we can own one in high grade. CGC 9.4 mint copies are only selling for over half the 9.2 Overstreet guide price, and you probably pick up a CGC 9.6 mint plus copy for just over the 9.2 guide price. Peanuts, I say. Just make sure that the copy has a perfect square spine and an exact register. I personally don't really like my copies to be crooked or misbound, something CGC seems to be a bit lenient on. Now, I think Invaders number 1 can and will enjoy some newfound demand as the importance of and the myth surrounding Alex Schomburg's art continues to grow. Schomburg penciled and inked the 6-page story about the Human Torch written by Roy Thomas in this issue also. Now, I can't be completely sure, but I do believe that this is his last published comic book work. The 47th Overstreet price breaks for this book are $31, $53, and $75 US in the 8, 9, and 9.2 grade split. And yes, this is a fairly good copy, at least a 9.2 grade-wise. Picked up from the Big P there on the Wild, and it's a nice addition to my collection.
It's a rocking action cover. That is awesome.
Fantastic, Jose. Thanks for bringing it in.
Oh, this is a poly book, and what a book, man. Whoa, Superman 199 from August of 67.
That's right, that's right. And I'm actually super excited. It's the first time in a while I've gotten to show a really nice key.
Yeah.
It's usually Jose showing the keys or Mike showing the keys.
Super jealous.
That's right, and I've been kind of sitting around the sidelines, but last week or a couple weeks ago, I walked into Retro Rare, and Sandy dropped this really nice book in front of me, and I wasn't really looking for it. Now, granted, it's not the highest grade. It's somewhere around maybe between a 4 and a 5, somewhere in that range there. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a tough black cover, but speaking of the cover, what a fantastic cover. And it's got much more to appreciate, I think. That Jack Black cover does it for me. It's got the two principal characters and heroes so prominent and in full action pose. So that's great. Great classic cover. Now, it's a true Carmine Infantino and Murphy Anderson classic. I did a little bit of reading on that. There's only 29 graded copies that are CTC 9.2 or higher in the census out of 412 copies graded for this book. And of course, for anybody who doesn't know this is a key book, as you mentioned. Of course, this book represents the first Superman Flash race. It's actually the first of a 4-issue arc that includes Flash issue 175 and World's Finest 198 and 199.
Correct, yeah.
But more and more collectors are just satisfied with just this issue and choosing not to collect the 4-issue run.
Yeah.
High grades, of course, are elusive in this thing.
Very, very.
I mean, you'd love to get a 9.2 copy, but it will cost you. I think on the latest 47th Over the Street Guide, the 8, 9, and 9.2 grade splits for this book are $259, $580, and $900.
Yeah.
U.S.
It goes to show you the difference, disparity in the price between like the Overstreet and maybe the Realm, because they can be quite different.
Yes.
I mean, when I looked at the Realm, the 9.2 lists for around 800 to 825 US. So, I mean, obviously we're going to use the Overstreet guide because it's definitely more accurate. But I am super excited about owning this book. And I think the first time I saw this book was actually on one of Lightning 2288's videos. And it's a shame. Lightning 2288 doesn't do many videos anymore, but at one time he used to put up some of the nicest keys out there. And so when I saw it there, I mean, I knew that someday I had to have it, and it's just coincidence that Sandy just happened to get one in last week or a couple weeks ago, and now it's mine.
Yeah, you happened to snag it when I was in a low cash flow situation there, so you did get to pick up this book. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Very nice. Aha, methinks I sense a tag team action coming on. In a previous episode, I featured a tasty Mary Jane Watson Iron Spider cover by Alex Ross, Paul's faves. So if that was a body blow, a kick to the shin, here we got Mike here piling on, get a poke in the eyes here with another Alex Ross cover to showcase. Take it away.
Oh yeah, I've got the whole set, and I'm continuing to read them as they come out. And the reason why I'm showing this one is because it looks expensive. It's not really too expensive. It's not that really old either. It's only from March. So
of
why
this
am I
year?
showing this? Yeah. Why am I showing this? Well, obviously the cover's beautiful. It's Alex Ross.
Yeah.
But the thing about this, the Realm only has this, and I grade all of my new books at about a 9.6. I could be wrong by a point or two.
Yeah.
This is a super thick book, and I'll get into that later. But I give it a 9.6. The Realm only has it up maybe $1 or $2 above what I paid for it off.
Okay, but this is just my opinion, guys. But anytime you're dealing with a new book, so let's say a brand new book, it better bloody well be anywhere between a 9.4 and a 9.8. Period.
Well,
Period.
This is when I was going to the stores, and I would leaf through and make sure that I would get at least the best copy of them all.
Yeah.
Anyhow, and this also has this is a what's called a supersized issue. So what I do with these, once I've read them, I double board and bag them, and you think, oh, it's so thick, why would you put two of them? Because you don't want it to move around. I've had so much trouble buying the older books because they get so scuffed up, because they're so easy to break, because they're so thick.
Yeah.
The spine breaks on them easy, all kinds of things happen to them. So I double board and Mylar this immediately after reading it the first time, just so that if I ever leafing through, it's not moving around as much as the other ones. I would probably just keep in still the cheap stuff that it comes in, right?
Cool.
and that's why I do that. So that's why that's my art. No big key thing like that. But in one of the back issues also, there's a teaser that Spider-Man and what's his name? Norman
Osborn.
Osborn, that's right. Norman Osborn have a big showdown, which is like a tie-in to the Secret Empire
Storyline.
And the Realm also lists Otto Octavius as
Doc
first
Ock.
appearance of Superior.
The Superior Doc Ock?
Oh man.
Yes.
You know what?
Octopus.
I think
so
the
it's got some key stuff that hasn't really brewed up yet.
Hey,
But
Jose,
let's
I
give
think
it
what
some
we
time
Jose,
and
I think
see what happens.
I got an idea. Why don't we take Mike's Amazing Spider-Man here and sell it on eBay for $25? You want to make some money?
Sure, yeah, no problem. I think this book is emblematic of the fact that, you know what, we're so out of tune with what's going on in Marvel, at least I am, because I'm unofficial boycott that I'm doing, so I'm so confused about what's what and stuff like that. So that while you probably wish you had this, it's even for a guy that's an Alex Ross, fanboy here, you're not in a hurry to buy this book. So what does that tell you about having...
It's cool, though. It's cool.
It is a cool cover, yes.
Also, another quick note. Another thing, real quick. Despicable Deadpool 287. There was no such thing. So Marvel's doing some good things, and at the same time, what?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay, Mike, that's a fantastic book. Thanks for bringing it in. Okay, so Jose's only got one book left to show. I thought I'd drop this into the segment just to lengthen it, but there's also significance to this as well. This is a 40th anniversary graphic novel. The artwork done inside by Eduardo Barreto. It's a really nice graphic novel of New Hope, the original Star Wars film. Now, the only reason I bring this up is because a couple weeks ago, Disney decided to cancel a whole bunch of Star Wars movie projects. They're canceling the Ben Kenobi movie, the Boba Fett movie, and I guess primarily the reason for this is because the Han Solo film didn't do very well in the theaters. I think it barely hit 380 million. So I don't know, guys. What do you think? What's going on?
Well, I think they have to manage their expectations. You know what? I think we've all kind of thought along the same page in these things. I mean, the Star Wars releases used to be kind of special events. They used to be something we really look forward to, and now it's just like another widget on the production line. And we've seen stuff online where they had dozens literally of movie projects like stretching 20, 25 years in the future, which is just insane.
It's ridiculous.
You can do that, but I mean, think about the logistics of actually putting stuff together. I mean, it seems to be a lot of waste of money, and care and craft has to be put into each product. I mean, you just can't crank it out. I mean, I think we're here standing at a time when there is more mediocre Star Wars movies than there is actually good ones.
Yeah.
Now, I would only add one to the canon of what I call the quote-unquote good ones, and that would, of course, obviously be Rogue One. The last two movies have been, I would think, somewhat underwhelming, especially The Last Jedi, but enough said on that score. I mean, I think I've already, said everything that there is to say that, I mean...
Well, I wouldn't have agreed with you like 6 months or a year ago when I first saw the Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. But I guess I'm now far enough removed from the films that I can, I guess, more approach them with an honest opinion.
I think you can have a better perspective now looking back on something, but yeah, I don't think that opinion is going to change. And which is not to say that the movies were bad. I just think that it's something that's, it's a symptom of Hollywood right now where it seems to be a lack of imagination, because basically both movies were retreads of the first two movies, A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back, except not as well done, not as well crafted.
Very much.
Yeah. And I think that's the problem. Like, see, I saw Solo in the theaters, and I thought it was quite a good film.
It's an origin story, though.
Was it a great film? No, but it was a pretty good film. Yeah. I think it should have done better than 380 million. Personally, I think this is a backlash against The Last Jedi, which, if I have to be honest with myself, it wasn't a very good film. It just wasn't. Their treatment of Luke Skywalker's character in that film was... Well, I got to say it was pathetic. It was absolutely pathetic. There's no way Luke Skywalker's character would have did what he did. He never would have become a recluse, gone off to it and left. It's just, who is this character? I had no idea who it was.
I don't know. It's messing with our memories of the movies. I just try not to think about it too much because I don't want these new movies to kind of spoil my enjoyment of the original movie. So I try to kind of almost like block it out. But I mean, we all have coping mechanisms to deal with these kind of things. I mean, these movies cannot change the way I feel about the original ones, but it does tarnish the memory of it because you try not to think that these things exist. They're out there in the world, but you know, you just can't help that.
I'm trying to compartmentalize
your kind of feelings about it. Yeah,
exactly. Because you're always going to have that original memory too, but. So they're canceling these origin stories and character stories, but maybe they'll try to do another, give the people what they want, storyline, original one
they were definitely
that people will like, and they got to look at it that way.
But I think the troubling thing is that, you know, you're taking one of the most interesting characters, Han Solo, of the whole Star Wars mythos, and you're not being able to gain traction with something like that. So it does not bode well for other kind of one-off, spin-off projects. If you cannot tell a good story about one of the most interesting characters from the original movies, Han Solo, then you've got problems as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I hadn't seen it, but I mean, it is an origin story versus a new story.
Nothing wrong with an origin story because we want to know more black story about Han Solo, so that's not a problem.
So are you looking back and saying it wasn't done as well as it could be?
Solo was fine. What I'm saying is I think this was a backlash against The Last Jedi. People were so angry at their treatment of Luke Skywalker, and to an extent the way they treated Han Solo in the first film, The Force Awakens. They turned him into like a deadbeat dad who failed in his marriage and couldn't raise his son properly and then got killed on a scaffolding.
Oh, this is bumming me out.
Like a big loser. So there were problems with the first two films, and I think we're in agreement on Rogue One. Fantastic film. Is the one perfect film that they've released in the last couple of years.
Well, because the only one that can be honestly admitted back into the canon of the original three to actually add to that.
It was done excellently.
So they've been filling it with too much product. The writing has been substandard, so let's hopefully Disney gets their crap together and going forward they're able to get through this.
And not treat it just like a product.
Exactly. Okay, last week, or maybe it was like a week before, me, Jose, Mike, were you with us as well? We went to the movie poster warehouse.
No,
I went the first time.
About a month and a half ago. But anyways, we went last week, and I picked up a couple real nice posters, and Jose also picked up this really kind of cool mini poster of Flash Gordon, which is definitely one of our favorite films, and I guess this is kind of a theme to go with our final book that we're showing tonight, right?
Yeah. This is Flash Gordon issue number 6 from July of 1967. It's got a classic Reed Crandall cover. Flash! Defender of the universe!
Okay, all right.
Now, let's get that out of our system. It's been done.
Singing, dude.
So
let's on that.
Talk Flash. Now, created by Alex Raymond in the 1930s to compete with who else but Buck Rogers. It was a comic strip that ran monthly from January 7th, 1934 until March 16th, 2003. Soak that in for a second, gentlemen.
Wow.
Just shy of 7 years of monthly material. Its influence can be felt by millions in many different fashions. Don't believe me? Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster based Superman's uniform of tights and a cape on costumes worn by Flash Gordon. Bob Kane's drawing of Batman on the cover of Detective Comics issue 27, the first appearance of the character, was based on a 1937 Alex Raymond drawing of Flash Gordon. Oh, and that guy that has a beard and is always wearing jeans and a flannel shirt, yes, that dude, George Lucas, creator of a little universe called Star Wars, well, truth be told, he wanted to make a Flash Gordon movie, but he could not get the rights, so he created his own universe. Now, furthermore, Luke, Mr. Lightbright, who is always cranky, and that hairy Bigfoot-looking thing that ran with Han were all influenced by Alex Raymond's classic. Lastly, the famous opening crawl of words at the very beginning of all the Star Wars movies that suck you in immediately. Well, he took that from Mr. Gordon, too.
Really?
Yeah. I hope all of this helps to paint the picture of just how important Flash Gordon was in laying the very foundations of the world we have today in movies and in comics. Its roots are felt all around us. So, Let's get back to the comic books. In the mid-60s, there was a 37-issue flash run, of which the first 11 issues were published by King Comics. Now, the first issue marks the first Silver Age appearance of Flash Gordon in comic books. The cover of this issue, number 6, is just totally amazing. King Comics was a short-lived comic book imprint of King Features Syndicate, who attempted to publish comics of its own characters rather than through other publishers. The line ran for approximately a year and a half, from August of 66 to December of 67. The King Comics Flash Gordon title was well received by the marketplace, winning 3 Alley Awards in 1966 and another in 1967. However, the series had distribution issues throughout its run, as several distributors refused to take King Comics because their issues lacked a Comics Code Authority seal. Now, the amazing talent behind this cover is Reed Crandall, American illustrator and penciler, best known for the 1940s Black Hawk title and for art in EC Comics in the 1950s. Crandall drew for comic books from 1939 until 1973. His first work appears from publisher Quality Comics, from which he drew stories starring such superheroes as The Ray and Dollman. His earliest confirmed cover art is for Fiction House's Fight Comics, issue number 12, from April of 1941, according to the Grand Comics database. Now, other early work includes inking the pencil art of the future industry legend Jack Kirby on 2 of the earliest Captain America stories, The Ageless Orientals That Wouldn't Die in Captain America issue number 2 from April of 41, and The Queer Case of the Murdering Butterfly and the Ancient Mummies in Captain America Comics issue number 3 from May of 41. Crandall co-created the superhero The Firebrand in Quality's Police Comics issue number 1 from August of 41. He began his long run as artist of his signature series, the World War II aviator team strip Black Hawk, in Military Comics issues 12 to 22 from October 42 through September of 43. Now, Crandall went on to become a mainstay of EC Comics, whose line of hit horror and sci-fi titles would become an influential to future generations of comic book creators, as they were controversial in their own time due to their often graphic nature and mature themes. He made his debut with his 6-page story Bloody Shore in The Haunt of Fear from August of 53. He drew dozens of stories across a variety of genres for EC anthologies such as crime suspense stories, shock suspense stories, Tales from the Crypt, The Vault of Horror, piracy, and weird fantasy. Now, following the demise of EC in the wake of the 1954 Senate hearings, Reed freelanced for Atlas Comics in the 1950s, the forerunner of Marvel. In '65, he contributed to Warren Publishers' black and white horror publications Creepy and Eerie, while illustrating superhero espionage stories for Tower Comics. Now, in his later years, unfortunately, he suffered debilitating health, which was caused by alcoholism. Yeah, and he left art completely in 1974.
That's a shame.
Yeah, he died in a nursing home from a heart attack on September 13th, 1982. And he was posthumously inducted into the Will Eisner Comic Book Hall of Fame in 2009. Like I said, a fantastic cover here and really high grade. The 47th Overstreet price guide for the 8, 9, and 9.2 grade splits for this book are only $28, $47, and $65 US. Fantastic cover. I think at least a 9, 9.2. It almost made the cut in my submission list for CGC. It may eventually do it, but I just had too many other books that took precedence. But man, what an addition to the collection.
Yeah.
My first King book.
And a very nice high grade too, if at least it looks like it from here.
Oh yeah, I love the Fishy Monster. I love Dale Arden and those 60s polka dot pants, and just a classic profile of Flash there, just zapping the Fishy Monster there in the mouth and the old gob there. Cool. Fantastic Crandall cover. Great.
Okay, so that's it, guys. It's a very short and sweet episode tonight, but I hope you liked the books we showed, because I think they were pretty cool.
Oh, that definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So if you like what you saw, leave a comment, because we love reading them, and we will respond, and we will see you next time.
Hoy hoy.
Yes, Mike. Yep.